Hello, this is Danielle Channel's Planets, and this is the Archetypal astrology for Thursday, May 7th, which is Jupiter Day. And Jupiter on this day is absolutely in some of the strongest aspects of the day. Jupiter in Cancer has been bringing forth themes of how we relate, what we find safety in, how we connect emotionally, what's our relationship to our emotions, and what our emotions need around being held, feeling compassionate towards them, allowing ourselves to be emotional beings in our families and in our relationships, and Jupiter bringing overall a lot of like expansiveness around those energies, but also, yeah, some kind of blessings and some kind of holding that maybe we've all needed. So Jupiter's been, I think, doing a just a lovely kind of transit there in Cancer. But as it comes into Thursday, and it's really been going on throughout this week, but it will be talking to the moon. It'll be talking to the moon, and the moon is the mother, and the moon is our body, and the moon is our emotions, and so Jupiter can really amplify and create quite an emotional day. Now, this can have a full range of experiences. It can bring optimism. It can bring forth joy. It can bring forth, um, you know, some kind of excessiveness, and but the moon can also feel a bit aggravated or a bit tense, especially being in a square aspect with Mars and Chiron. And so with Mars, Mars is action and will and drive, and the moon can definitely be amped up by those things. And the moon can be feeling, you know, uh, yeah, just a full range of excitement that, Mars can carry, and playfulness and energy and impulsivity, but at the same time, the irritability, frustration, and maybe annoyances as well, or the conflictual energy of Mars. And so that's definitely going to be in the air for not only you, but for everybody else. And so I can imagine there's being some conflicts and some fights, some misunderstandings, some kind of emotional wounds being tested with Chiron there, with Mars there, and then, toes getting stepped on with the moon, and then Jupiter just kind of amplifying this whole thing. Other expressions, though, could be a great propensity for healing through doing physical activity. And so, if the moon really needs to engage with something that keeps it busy and keeps it active, that could bring healing. Jupiter and the moon and Chiron can act in a way with Mars where it feels tense and it maybe feels uncomfortable, but we are pushed or driven towards doing something that ends up paying off in the long run towards our personal growth. Without these squares, and this is a T square, that's one of the most mega personal growth aspects that you could have or go through. And so that's really what's going on Thursday, is this emotionally driven, expansive experience that can lead towards personal growth, with us also carrying a wound with us. And so this does relate to something that we're feeling around our Aries energy, our autonomy, our will, our assertiveness, how we express ourselves, how we show up for me in the world. That can be activated, that can be poked, and this can also bring a lot of healing to those things. So I do think that without the tension and without the discomfort and without that, we wouldn't grow. We wouldn't heal this thing that we're looking at. Um, so tend the wound, go easy on yourself. The moon and Cancer are, doing a dance that wants to bring some gentleness and some softness and like a hug. And so whatever helps you feel supported while you're active, like relationships, the feminine, leaning into water activities, those kinds of things can be really nourishing. Also on Thursday, the Jupiter is going to be in a sextile with the Sun, which is pretty lovely, I think. I mean, on the one hand, Jupiter's Sun can definitely bring about some big ego energy, but maybe the Sun needs a little bit of inflation right now. A sextile aspect is soft, it's gentle, it's supportive, it's harmonious, and Jupiter can amplify Sun energy. Sun being our personality, our ego, our potential to express ourselves and to bring forth our purpose into the world. And Jupiter is kind of like a push that says, yes, let's do this. Let's amplify. Let's turn the volume up. Let's make this bigger. Let's do this. Let's be you. So I think that can be a helpful tool, as well as like leaning into creative self energy, and the a deeper, bigger potential of who you really are, I think, is available with that transit. And that's kind of what this is about. Jupiter is here to support and say, like, hey, we're without this tension and without this growth, we wouldn't be able to step into this potential that we have that needs to be brought forth. So whatever that is, it could be related to your yang energy, your solar plexus energy, your ability to assert yourself, your willpower, your sense of self-empowerment, your doing things in the world. This aspect is here to amplify that and to hopefully in the long run meaning like by the end of the week, bring forth some joy and some self-empowerment that feels good. And then Jupiter is also in a loose trine with Saturn still. So it does have this kind of edge and also an aspect with Chiron. So there's this edge of wound and an edge of boundaries. So we might feel a little stuck, a little imprisoned around this. Like we can only operate in some kind of container that maybe feels oppressive. And the container maybe also feels somewhat abusive towards our self energy. So we're needing to operate within a certain context that feels oppressive, where it feels restricted, or it feels contained. And so that's an interesting alchemical mix with the wound that we're feeling and the container that is holding us, and Jupiter wanting us to grow and expand and express ourselves within that. It's a great alchemical mix, but that, again, that's why like the square aspects, and then with Saturn, Mars, Chiron involved, it just can feel difficult. It can feel emotionally heavy. And I think on Thursday, the moon is definitely feeling that. As the moon moves forward, it gets closer and closer throughout Thursday to Pluto. And that's really going to be quite powerful. You know, like as the moon, it's going to, by the 8th, it will ingress into Aquarius. But nevertheless, it will be in that conjunction before it gets there. And, moon moving into an aspect with Pluto, while Pluto is like talking to pretty much everything, particularly the outer planets. So I think by Thursday, there's some kind of emotional experience that we're going through that we feel charged up about, that then starts to, after we get through that, and as we go into Friday, we're going to start feeling some very like transpersonal energies. We're going to start feeling some very transformative, powerful, like creative energy that maybe we didn't know that we were capable of. And having this like aha moment or realization of like, oh, like that's like who I am. That's what I'm here to do. Particularly because Uranus is at the 0 degree point in Gemini, and the moon conjunct Pluto all of a sudden becomes an antenna for this Pluto energy that's talking to Uranus, that's talking to Saturn, that's talking to Neptune, that's talking to like everything. And so on Friday, it can kind of feel like, hopefully, like a numinous experience. Maybe there's some spiritual imagery that comes through. Maybe there's some fun summertime self-discovery activities that people get into, whatever that may be. Friday looks like an interesting day for depth work, but do be aware that if you are engaging in any kind of inner journeying and that kind of thing, that Moon Pluto can be super intense. And that Pluto Saturn can also bring forth things from the unconscious that are kind of scary or kind of oppressive, like eternal suffering and damnation kind of stuff. But there is a likelihood and a propensity for spiritual imagery and for breakthroughs. So doing inner journey and inner work at this time can be absolutely quite powerful. Friday is an interesting day for that. But it would be definitely engaging with some inner work and some inner wound. So I don't know if it would be all sunshine and roses, but it would definitely have its moments of, access to the collective unconscious. So stay tuned for more updates. I'll post another video on Friday. But just know that, if you're feeling tense, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling activated, if you're feeling kind of like restricted by your environment, that's the alchemical chamber that we're meant to be evolving in right now. That pressure is cooking so that we expand within that. And part of that is confronting our anger, confronting our irritability, holding it gently, holding it compassionately, letting it be there. And I think integrating anger is a theme this week. Integrating anger and integrating learning to turn the on and the off switch with anger. Like you can turn it on and then you can turn it off. I think sometimes people turn it on and then it ruins their whole day. and you can turn it off and you can go back to who you are. And this is about realizing that we are complex beings with multiple personalities, multiple inner parts. And a lot of us have a lot of repressed anger that leads towards chronic illness. And we need to learn to engage with our anger in helpful and constructive ways when we need to. And that's okay. And then you can turn it off when you're done using it and go back to being your peaceful, harmonious self, which is, the sun, Mercury, and Taurus wants to just get along and be at peace and smell the roses and make art and be nice. And, but Chiron, um, Jupiter, Mars, particularly Jupiter, Mars, pushing us towards feeling frustrated, feeling angry, feeling tense, so that is also part of the picture. And can we hold both of those expressions at the same time? Being ourselves, loving peace, but also at times turning the on switch and fuck you, and then turning it off and going about our way. So that's what I have for you. And please stay tuned for more updates. Please like and subscribe. I offer readings and I have weekly slots Monday through Friday. Please reach out if you'd like one. Thanks for watching.